Still Poddable.
Other teams might as well buy their tickets to Cancun now because the Celtics are on the path to ban on 19. With us on this journey are JT, Sam, Packard, Brian Robb, and Sean. So I'm gonna need you all to buckle in because this pod's gonna be a wild ride.
Still Poddable, still Poddable. The Boston Celtics still Poddable, still Poddable.
I've never seen anybody lose their season 2 years in a row.
A psychosexual celebration of the Boston Celtics.
Welcome back to Still Poddable, the best Celtics podcast on Al Gore's internet. We asked Al Gore. He said it was the best Celtics podcast, so you should subscribe today. It was, but they didn't know that, Jay. I'm Sam Jam Packard, joined. We're all in New York City, the three of us in separate places, but this is Still Poddable. Jay King from The Athletic, Brian B. Robb from MassLive.com. Jam Packard here, professional sports fan. We are Still Poddable. Go to patreon.com/Still Poddable if you want a Monday through Friday Boston Celtics podcast endorsed by former Vice President Al Gore. This is the free show. That means we are coming to you on the CLNS YouTube page. It also means we are brought to you by the fine folks at the Game Time app. If you want to get tickets, download the Game Time app today. We are coming to you on the off day between Game 3 and Game 4 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. The Celtics absolutely wax the New York Knicks in what it was my first time seeing a playoff game in Madison Square Garden, and I was expecting it was a pretty raucous environment. But
I'm mad at the Celtics, man. I'm mad at them. They controlled that game too thoroughly that they just took the crowd right out of it at the start and just killed an atmosphere that was going to be so good.
The most hype moment, I think, there's two moments. Mitchell Robinson hitting his first free throw, which, here's how bad the Celtics have poisoned my brain after the first two games. I was like, damn, that could really spark a run for the Knicks. Like, if that could really change the energy. I thought maybe that could do something. And then Jalen Brunson, I think, hit a three to cut it to 17 at one point. And I was like, here it comes. But those are like the two moments of hypeness that the MSG crowd had for the entire game because the Celtics were just dominant from the very start.
Yeah, they took the life out of the place. Jay said it. Like it was, 2-3 minutes? And then the Celtics were up by 10 in a wink and didn't really turn back. And even when the Knicks had like a glimmer of hope, like a 5-7 run or a 7-0 run, Joe had seen enough these last two games, like timeout, that's it. And then they pretty much turned it around almost right away after each of those runs. So it was a hell of a performance. And it was honestly what we probably all thought we were going to see this entire series and what we had seen in parts of game 1 or 2, but they didn't give it a full 48, but they gave pretty damn close to it. And it all started with Pritchard, as you wrote about today, Jay.
Pritchard was so good. He was by far the best playoff game he's ever played. And I think in the past, his limitations would always show up in the playoffs, or at least deeper in the playoffs. And they haven't yet this year. Like he came in and he was just like his regular season carefree self. He biffed a layup like right away, and then I loved the play afterward where he just ripped it out of Bridges' hands and went and drew 2 free throws. Then like a couple minutes later, he just pulled up for this crazy fucking pull-up 3 on a fast break. And
a 4-on-2 fast break. It was a pretty ill-advised shot, if you ask me. But I like that he took it.
Kristaps loved it. Kristaps was like, he just needs to play with that freedom. If he plays with that freedom, he's awesome. And so I feel like from the sound of it, the Celtics spent time in between games 2 and 3, like kind of trying to cut through the tension and remind themselves that like this is okay. That it's natural to feel pressure, but also like you have to play like you don't have pressure on you, and you have to play with the freedom. You have to play with that joy. Because I did think in game 2 they got tight, and they missed wide open shots. They passed up some wide open shots. Game 3, there was none of that. Whether it's Jayson Tatum coming in and making his first 4 threes, or Pritchard coming off the bench like he was playing the Pistons 2 or 3 years ago and going off for 30. And I just felt like they really did a good job of living up to the moment and not letting that drag them down like it did in game 2. And then the biggest part to me was like, your offense, when they play good offense in this series, their defense is going to stop the Knicks in the half court. Bridges and Anunoby only got 4 3-pointer attempts combined. And you think back to earlier in the series, it'd be like turnovers got one of those guys open, or a bad mistake got one of those guys open. It was like they were just really, really solid against the Knicks all day long. They forced Jalen Brunson to do tough stuff. He did sometimes. He didn't other times. Karl Towns, like, they made him play through them, and he couldn't do it consistently. I just felt like it was a great defensive game on top of the offensive stuff we've mentioned.
Yeah, they cleaned that up. And it's one thing, because like Brunson is the one guy in this series, like if he goes nuts, he can beat you. But no, like you're not going to lose because Bridges and OG, like those guys need openings to get shots against this team, because the Celtics defense can be that good when they're locked in. Like this is why they won last year. This has been reliable for them. So for them to be locked in the way they were from the jump there with huge. And I thought, to your point about the opposite, like it's like getting loose. I thought they did they went after Towns and Brunson at points in games 1 and 2 and to successful degrees. But then I think like they let them off the hook at times, as we talked about. I think they did a great job of just like attacking one of those guys pretty much every time down the floor in the first half. And it wasn't like they scored on each of them, but they would get a great look. So between doing that and even making the extra pass, I feel like they did that a little bit more in this game, where it just like, I don't know, maybe it might just looked like because it went in, but it seemed like they were turning down good shots for great shots a few times. And that kind of snowballed into what we saw turning into a 71-point half.
I thought Tatum did a good job of making like the easy pass, because he was drawing a lot of attention. But I remember like 2 threes, one just to Al Horford. I think that was in the second half or in the first half. Just like he drew 2 easy pass for the pick and pop to Al. Similar thing happened to Drew in the second half. And I'm trying to figure out as well if it's just the process, but I felt like they just generated some threes. It was like, let's just get it to the guy in the short roll and play a little 4-on-3. And they just were able to knock down some threes that way. And you mentioned that timeout Joe took in the fourth quarter when the Knicks made their first 3 threes. I liked that they went immediately to like a Kristaps post up on Mikal Bridges to get like some free throws. All they needed to do in the fourth quarter was to score a basket, something they were unable to do in game 2. But the Knicks are not going to score over like 100 points. It's just the Celtics defense is that good. And so I thought they just did the right thing of just like making the simple play, and then did the very obvious adjustment of making the open threes. But Jay, I feel like we talked a lot about, and there was a lot of discourse headed into game 3 about like Kristaps. He really didn't do much in he was, I guess, got to the line a couple times, but he did not do much in game 3, and still doesn't seem like he has like his wind or is playing with like playoff intensity at this point.
And I talked to him after the game. He said fatigue is just a huge factor for him right now. He said that even talking to me, like he felt like his mind was going slower.
That's wild. I mean, I feel the same way talking to you, but
I was like, oh, but he said like he's doing well. He said like that's the fatigue is just like the only factor that's really impacting him right now. But anyway, yeah, I felt like he was better. I felt like he had more energy in game 3. The block that he had that sparked a fast break the other way, that was big. Like, they don't need him to be Mr. 20-point scorer. They don't. But he was able to draw fouls. And I believe it was the first quarter, they got in the bonus, and then he did his little flailing thing and got to the foul line, and then he drew another foul on Mitchell Robinson. The bucket, the play you talked about once the Knicks cut it and they came out of the timeout, and he got great post position on Bridges and then drew a foul on him. So he was able to get like the easy points that just keep the Knicks from getting momentum. I thought he did a really good job of that. And so I thought it was a fine Kristaps game. It wasn't a great Kristaps game, obviously, but I felt like he was better than he was in game 2. And also, you know, when he was out there, they had that one stretch in the first quarter when Mitchell Robinson and Precious Achiuwa both grabbed offensive rebounds on the same possession, and then on the missed free throw, Mitchell Robinson grabbed another offensive rebound. Other than that, though, I thought Kristaps held his own against the Knicks on the glass, and against Robinson, that's just a really tough task. Like, he's a phenomenal offensive rebounder, and so I thought it was a much better Kristaps game, and that he gave the Celtics what they needed.
Yeah, the 3 blocks were nice. So, like, we can do that, but that's a big part. You know, if you can take away, and I think that the Celtics had 8 as a team, they were just really good at rim protection and just holding their ground. And when you do that and they're staying home on shooters, that's when the Knicks are struggling to get anything going and are getting frustrated. But to Jay's point, like if Porzingis can just him being out there as a decoy or just a problem for defenses like that can help open things up for everyone else. So yeah, like this playoffs might not be a time where like you're going to give it to him 5 for 10, even 10 shots a game because he can't handle that from a fatigue standpoint. But just having a 7-foot guy out there that can finish and is still a threat, like that creates those wide helps keep those looks open for Pritchard and off other guys in the pick and roll. And so it's big that he's still able to give them 20 minutes at this point.
I felt like the Celtics, especially with the blocks from Kristaps.
To add to that, he had 3 blocks and was plus 11. Like, you win the Kristaps minutes by 11, and in this series, you're happy.
I thought they did a good job of turning like the defense, especially his blocks and Al Horford's blocks, into easy offense on the other end. Like, they just got out in transition. I think they had 18 fast break points. Derek White was there. I thought they were just playing, and I don't think this is necessarily borne out in the like the amount of shots they took, but it felt like they made a point of just playing a little bit faster. At least just getting into, at least in transition, just like we are going to push the ball as soon as we have that opportunity. And I thought a lot of that started with just the rim protection of KP and who else? Playoff Al Horford, who just continues to be give the Celtics great minutes and everything they need. Explain the reference, Jay. You can't just yell that. I don't know if everyone.
Jaylen Brown was yelling that. I don't know at what moment he yelled that, but when Horford did something impressive, he was yelling, "I got 5 kids."
Gold.
So fun stuff.
What did you guys think? B-Rob, I'll start with you. What did you think of Tatum's performance? Because he knocked down a lot of threes, missed a lot of layups, and was also was getting a lot of attention from the Knicks. Like, this is how we've seen teams guard Jayson Tatum in the playoffs. Like, they're really running 2 guys at him. I thought he did a pretty good job of distributing the basketball. And if he makes those layups, which I feel like we've seen him do, he has much closer to his normal 30 points, and then is like still had 9 rebounds and 7 assists. So I thought it was like a pretty solid Tatum performance, but it wasn't like the numbers weren't popping out for you.
Yeah, this is, I guess, slightly above average for Tatum in the playoffs, I would say, which is obviously felt like miles better than what was one of his worst playoff games ever in game 2. But yeah, it was, I think, encouraging to see him just remain confident in the pull-up jumper against Towns, like at the beginning of that game when he just was red hot for 3, because they were laying off that more than ever. And so he needs to, that's a shot that's going to be there for him, and you need the Knicks to respect that shot. And now, if the Knicks try to change things in terms of how they defend that, like, that's going to open up other things for the offense for them. But for him to hit those early was great. I think it was really strong first half. And the second half, I don't know, like, he maybe, like, the game was pretty much in doubt. They got a little bit back to a little more ISO heavy stuff at points, but at that point they're up 20, 25 points. So it's really hard to quibble, but it was what you want to see out of a guy coming off a pretty rough game 2.
Yeah. The one thing that he hasn't been able to, I guess it's not the one, but one thing he hasn't been able to get on track in this series is just his mid-range game.
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't been able to figure out how to attack New York. And I think it's probably because they have a number of defenders who are pretty capable against him with Bridges and Anunoby, even Mitchell Robinson, even Jalen Brunson, like, hasn't been like an easy bucket for Jayson Tatum. He's drawn charges. He kind of kept Tatum uncomfortable. He's strong. He's tough. And so Tatum, I feel like in that game yesterday, it didn't matter. But in a close game, you can't have him going 0 for 4 from mid-range. You can't have him unable to control those big moments when you need to just get to your spot and rise up and score. So he needs to find a way to get better shots in those moments for the Celtics than he has so far in this series. He has been totally ineffective in that sort of mid-post area against New York. And that's, the threes go down yesterday. If they don't go down, he has a really inefficient game. And he hasn't been able to really draw many free throws in this series, just one in game 3. So he hasn't really, outside of the threes, he really didn't score in many other ways yesterday.
Yeah, like 3 of 11 from 2-point range.
Yeah, and some of those, like you said, were just, he had some very good layup looks that he'll probably make most of the time. But you got to get to the line. You got to hit at least some of those mid-range shots that in a closer game would really be like important looks.
It was, as you mentioned, Jay, it was could have been a great environment in MSG. I'm expecting a better environment on game 4. Definitely a hot ticket in town. If you want to be there, if you want to go to any other events, like concerts, like comedy shows, like legitimate theater, maybe you want to catch a Sox game at Fenway, then you should use the Game Time app. It's the best place for last-minute deals. You can save up to 60% off buying those tickets last minutes. They've got zone deals where you just choose a section and Game Time will pick the best seats for you. All in pricing, so it shows you all the money you're going to spend up front with no surprise fees at checkout. You can get a panoramic view of your seat before you buy. It's the lowest price guaranteed, and the Game Time ticket coverage is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Game Time. Now, B-Rob, I want to do a hypothetical here. I'm going to get you in the mind of a basketball coach. Say it's the fourth quarter. Say your team is up by 29. Say you're playing against Mitchell Robinson and your team has entered the bonus. Do you Hack-a-Mitch in that situation?
I do not, but I respect Joe for sticking to his guns with it. Yeah, I don't know.
It's mental warfare.
It
is 100% psychological warfare. They want Mitch Robinson thinking about it at all times when he's on the court. And it seems like it's working because that one free throw airball, and then
after the crowd gave him the crowd gave him like some encouragement. They're like, "You can do it," and then he followed it up by airballing. That was a low moment for me.
It was so bad that when he made a free throw, I think it was ESPN that tweeted like it's bigger than basketball, saying like, comforted Mitchell Robinson after he made a free throw. Like, that's just basketball, guys. I don't know what to tell you. There's nothing bigger than basketball about just missing free throws. But yeah, it's mental warfare. And there are times when I question the decision, honestly. Like yesterday, the end of the first quarter, Robinson ended up missing both free throws, so whatever. Maybe I'm just stupid. But the Knicks were like 4 for 16, and the Celtics have been getting stop after stop after stop. They're up, I believe it's 29-13. And instead of just getting another stop, like they'd had no problems doing for the first 9 minutes of the game, they Hack-a-Mitch. And so, but I mean, the guy is just bricking everything, airballing everything.
I forgot how bad he was.
Now it's got to be in his head.
Like I mean, he hasn't played so much. Like I think he shot 68 per line in the regular season, but that was just he only played 17 games.
Yeah.
But like it was 40% last year, and then 48, 48, 49. It's like, and so I don't know. It's like I guess I wonder if it's like he is Mitchell Robinson on the glass is the one clear advantage the Knicks could have in this series, and Joe obviously sees it being like, we don't want that to get going at any point. So this is always going to be there for you, Mitch. And you're always like, to your game point, like, this is always going to be right there when you're on the floor, no matter if it's a tie game, no matter if you're down 30, you're always going to have to be sweating this out. And so, yeah, it's the adventure continues, but there's been no signs that he's like coming close to breaking out of this outside of making 2 in a row, once out of 6 chances yesterday.
And I think Luke made the adjustment where it's like he got an offensive rebound in game 2 and Luke fouled him. And I think he got the N1. And
that was not a shooting foul. They called it a shooting foul. I don't think that was a shooting foul. I was like, Luke should have waited a second to foul him on that one.
I think it's the first time where someone fouls someone and then argues that it is a shooting foul.
Yeah.
But he wrapped him up pretty good on that one.
He's like, ref, he was shooting.
But I think that's even in the head of like Mitchell Robinson's probably not going back for the putbacks if he's getting the offensive rebound because he's so worried about getting fouled in that situation. But he's been pretty solid. Like offensively, obviously he's been a force, but I think he's been pretty solid on defense too. Like the Celtics, I don't think have taken advantage of the Knicks bigs in a way that I thought they would heading into the series. Like it doesn't feel like when they're getting Robinson on one-on-one situations or even Cat on one-on-one situations, they have done a great job. I think Jalen did it a little bit.
The best job of it, Peyton Pritchard.
Yeah,
Peyton Pritchard. They let Peyton Pritchard kind of run the offense a little bit in the second half there, and I thought they got some good stuff. He had the ISO against Mitchell Robinson where he hit the step back 3. He had the 2-man game with Jayson Tatum where they got the matchup they wanted onto Tatum and then found him. I feel like they got really good stuff whenever they let Peyton Pritchard initiate, and maybe you just let Peyton Pritchard loose, just unleash Peyton Pritchard. Like I'm half joking because obviously you're gonna have the ball in Tatum and Jaylen Brown's hands a lot, but I think Pritchard, I think he's a pretty good option in this series because he's able to create space against anybody, and he's, very, very, very good, pull up 3-point shooter, very good at getting into the lane. It's time for Peyton Pritchard to be unleashed, baby.
Yeah, I mean, on a game-to-game basis, it's like in this series, like you have so many weapons on this team. Leaning into what's working on a specific night, like that's what they should be doing right now to get this done. Especially when you're down 2-0, like, and they did a great job of that in game 3, and who knows, that like obviously Tatum and Brown are due for I think a monster game at some point regardless, but if it's a night where like Derek White has it going or maybe KP is feeling real good tonight, but they have advantages across the board here that they can attack. It's just a matter of playing into that in real time and figuring out, okay, this is right, Peyton clearly is feeling it here, and the fact that Joe kind of gave him the keys to the car on that front helped them get it to the finish line.
Looking forward to game 4. What's the adjustment? Is it just to run the make shot plays?
The Knicks are up 2-1 and they have
the series is over.
What's this? No, but I mean, what are the Celtics looking to do differently? Like it feels like they've run the same game plan for 3 straight games, basically. But in the first 2 games, they just shot 25% from 3. Like even in game 2, I thought they passed up some threes that they probably should have taken. And so in terms of Celtics offensive approach, I feel like it wasn't drastically different over these 3 games. They just happened to knock down the open ones and, win by 30. And so I'm from the Celtics perspective, Jay, like, what do you think they're trying to, like, what's their point of emphasis heading into game 4?
Just keep staying solid. Joe,
that's not an adjustment at all.
What Joe said, I'm sure he was, he was exaggerating to some extent, but he said the only thing they talked about during the 3 days between game 2 and game 3 were live ball turnovers and taking care of the margins. And they had 11 live ball turnovers in game 2, and that just puts you in an impossible situation defensively. That let the Knicks get out and run. It let them feel comfortable. It let them feel confident. It put more pressure on the Celtics. They got tight. Like, those 11 live ball turnovers were absolutely crucial to that collapse. And they came in some big moments too. Like, they got up 20, and then it was like turnover. All of a sudden it's 12. All of a sudden the Knicks are feeling it. All of a sudden you're in trouble. And I feel like that it's not an adjustment, but if they stay solid in this series, the Knicks are having a lot of trouble getting good looks, good shots, quality looks. They were 2 for 17 from 3 over the first 3 quarters before having a little bit of success in the fourth when the Celtics were up, 20, 25, 30. Not 11, as one of the reporters asked in the it's like, when they cut it to 11 in the fourth quarter. What? I didn't see that one. But
would have been a way different environment if they ever got to 11.
Yeah, definitely. But it's just like, if you stay solid, they're just having so much trouble. And the 2 for 17, it's like the 2 obviously stands out, but the 17 stands out too. Like, they really couldn't manufacture good looks. Brunson got some, Karl Towns got some. Basically, nobody else did. And that's what you want to do. You want to take away Anunoby and Bridges' good looks. They're not like creators. Like, those guys are really play finishers. And I thought they just did a great job of being there, being solid. And it all starts with the offense, though. Like, as long as their offense is good in this series, I think their defense will be great.
Yeah, it's the defense is where they've been able to hang their hat. And like, that's the controllable. And so if you stay solid there, that's a good thing. And they won't, they're not going to shoot as well as they did probably in game 3, but if they just shoot average and they cut the turnovers, they're going to be okay. From a Knicks standpoint, it's like, with Brunson and Towns, like, those guys can be such issues for them defensively, but they need them to score. So we joke about there's no adjustments. There is an adjustment. Like, they have nowhere to turn. Like, they have no like special lineup to go to here that like solves.
Do they go like Deuce McBride, like, to instead of Josh Hart, just to get more shooting out there? Like, to try and get more space for them?
So much for that team.
Yeah.
And also, it's not like Deuce McBride is fucking JJ Redick.
Right. It's a good idea, right? And then like Josh Hart, and then like between the offensive rebounding and the size disadvantage, like if you go McBride and Brunson on the floor, like that's more guys for the Celtics to target down low. But yeah, it's between that, and then you have Mitchell Robinson with the free throw stuff we talked about. There's just, if you're Tibbs right now on that staff, it's like, I don't know where you turn here. If you just have to hope that the Celtics shoot themselves in the foot again a couple of times, whether it's by bad shooting or mistakes, and if they don't, then this thing should be relatively smooth sailing for them. But it is.
I think they can go to more switching than they did in parts of game 2. They can ramp up the defensive intensity. They could try to play more Mitchell Robinson, and that could be tough because Celtics are going to just keep hacking him, and he's gotten in foul trouble too. So it's tough to play him a lot of minutes, but you could go to that card. And then a lot depends on Karl Towns and what his health status is.
He's fine, Jay.
What happened to him? He was not fine after it happened on the court. I got multiple texts like, "Oh, he's being a baby out there." I was like, "Oh, I'm up on the Sky Bridge right now. It looks like he's in pain."
He could be seen mouthing that he broke it. Whether it was his left hand, the finger on his left hand, whatever. He was really in a lot of pain. It seemed like for a pretty long portion there, but he kept playing.
I actually thought he was pretty solid in the fourth quarter. Like, that was their only source of offense down the stretch. It just happened. It was like
he was 0 for 7 in the second half.
Oh, well, then I don't remember. He made a 3. He got to the line 3 times.
He went to the line 11 times. Yeah, 11 times. Yeah. But he's only taken I think just like he's only made 1 3 in this series. He's 1 of 7 from 3-point range. And so that's a huge thing for the Celtics. Like, if he can't shoot, then that's a big blow to how they're going to be able to be a scorer, to be able to keep up.
That's the Tatum effect right there.
Right.
Like, you take away all of Karl Towns' good looks because you can switch and you have the versatility. And Tatum, unlike if you have to play drop with a center, like a real center, you got Tatum on Towns, and he does an incredible job of shutting all that stuff down.
I'm surprised they wouldn't go to him in the post more, because we saw him like really dominate Tatum in one game in the regular season in terms of just playing physical, but it doesn't seem like their offense is really constructed to get a lot of Towns post touches. And I'm amazed by the amount of possessions where I've seen like it's Jalen Brunson running through 5 different like screens and actions just to get like one-on-one against Jaylen Brown. Like they do, it feels like there's a lot of possessions where the Knicks do so much work just to get Brunson a one-on-one possession against White, Jaylen Brown, or Drew Holiday. And I guess that's kind of the beauty of the Celtics defense. And Brunson, to his credit, he's a very talented player, can like knock down some cool fadeaway stuff and can still draw fouls, but there's still no easy offense for the Knicks at this point. And where it's like, I don't think if the Celtics can score 100 points in the game, I feel like they're going to win, just because I feel like the Knicks are going to struggle to get to that number. They basically did that in the first 2 games. They needed overtime to get it in game 1. And I think that's what boils down to this series. And that's kind of what the Celtics formula was last year in the playoff run. Like they won, I feel like, on defense and then getting by on scrappy play alone. I don't think their offense was. Might be blanking, but did they have huge 3-point performances in the playoff run last year, or is it? I guess I'm basically thinking about the. Oh wow! Distracted by someone who just joined us, lounging outside, shades on. Joshua B coming out of nowhere. How's it going, Mr. B? You look relaxed.
I am relaxed. It's good to win by 27. I'm out here just taking it easy. National Cathedral behind me. Don't know if you could see. Doesn't matter. Just beautiful weather. Everything's great. They haven't kicked me out yet. I saw what happened to you at the New York Knicks. I just think that's classless of the organization, Jam. So, I'm feeling great. I love that apparently Joe Mazzulla is talking about tapping into the dark side. I think that's great.
I've got a question for you. Did you bring like a pool floaty thing to?
So interesting you say
public venue right here.
Yeah, I mean it rolls up into this great little bag. I mean I've got the bag somewhere, but like you use the wind. The wind fills it up and bang. This bag. Here's the bag, and I got Jolie B with me too.
That's amazing. You guys look so comfortable out there.
We're as comfortable as the Celtics were beating the Magic just yesterday. Do you guys think that we could do it again tomorrow night, or do you think that we're going to be relaxed and not as focused?
They gotta keep the intensity. You've done nothing yet. Like you're down 2-1 still. If you lose game 4, you're still in a really bad spot. You got to win too. And Jaylen Brown said it immediately after the game in the locker room. He told his team, we came here for 2. And they have to keep that mentality. They got to keep that mindset. Like 1 is not enough. And I do think game 4 will be like a really hard fought battle because the Knicks in game 3, Jalen Brunson said it. He was like, subconsciously, I think we knew we had a big lead in the series. We weren't totally locked in. But game 4, they know basically they're fighting for their lives. Both teams will be fighting for their lives in game 4. Game 4 should have just a ton of intensity.
B-Rob, can I ask you something just very quickly?
Please.
So I seem to remember after game 2, a lot of reporting from the Knicks locker room, whether it was from Windhorst or just reporters in general, about the Knicks being very cool, realizing they can't let up, realizing they need to keep their foot on the gas and just not getting too high, just staying level. How do you feel the Knicks are responding to this game 3 loss, and how is that different than what they were in game 2? Do you think now they have the fear of God inside of them now that we beat them down by so many, or do you think that there is no difference between game 2 and game 3?
I mean, I think it was certainly that game 3 wasn't competitive, and most of they had real runs in game 1 and game 2, obviously, to win those games the Knicks. But in this one, they knew the Celtics were going to come out with the urgency they did, and they still weren't able to do anything about it, and the urgency wasn't there for them. And obviously, I think them missing a ton of shots early, they admitted it just took a toll on them. So, like Jay said, like game 4, like I expect that to be ramped up for the Knicks. Whether that matters or not, I don't think it's going to matter a lot if the Celtics do what they do. But that's the big thing I expect to change going into game 4 is like the Knicks are actually going to play harder. They're going to try to play smarter, but it may not matter.
And one last question for Jam Packard, who, by the way, you can talk to anytime you want if you're a legend like me. You can even do it, lounging in one of these chairs. All you have to do is sign up
No
on
one can do it like you,
patreon.com.
Josh B. You're the only one who can do it like you.
Well, maybe they should take a tip. Maybe they could see just how wonderful this is. You too can, join up at patreon.com. Join the Still Poddable chat. It's amazing in there. Shout out to James Beard for keeping the faith in there. One quick question for you, Jam Packer, before I bounce. Do you believe that you would have been able to do the Still Poddable post-game show in full had the Knicks won, or do you think that was just a policy in general for the Celtics pod? Thanks, guys.
That's a good question. Yes, I was I don't want to say forcibly removed from the Sky Bridge, but I was told I needed to end my podcast in the next minute last night. I don't think it was anything having to do with me.
You should have said, "What you gonna do about it?" You should have stayed on there. If they got physical while it's on camera on the StreamYard, all of a sudden that's on them. I think you botched that one. You should have just continued podcasting. Said made them make the next step.
Did you guys see the clip of the Knicks fans at the Garden after game 1 or game 2 they gathered in a crowd and then kind of got refused to get kicked out as ushers got upset?
Wow. I mean, I didn't know that. Now that I'm like in the district attorney, that I guess I inherently have this respect for authority. But their game 4 is coming up. I'm assuming I will be sitting in the same Sky Bridge. Maybe I just handcuff myself to the seat and refuse to leave until the podcast is over.
That would actually be fantastic.
And I'm going viral.
We might go viral as a podcast if you do that.
But the thing is, I'm only doing that if the Celtics win. You can't do that after a playoff loss.
You can't just handcuff yourself. You've got to find a way to strap your computer as well. Because if they take that, the entire stream is gone.
It's like super glue the computer.
I got my phone. I can continue on my phone too. But yeah, I'll be working a lot diligently in pregame in game 4 to try to figure out a way that you guys will get the Still Poddable post game for what will be exciting game 4, guys. And because of all the shenanigans that happened after last night's game, didn't get to hear the new debut song. And so for the first time, let's go MF and Celtics game 3 edition.
Let's go, you motherfucking Celtics. Let's go, baby, let's go. You motherfucking Celtics, let's go. Let's go, Celtics, I said let's go. Let's go, you motherfucking Celtics. Let's go, baby, let's go. You motherfucking Celtics, let's go. Okay, now storm into MSG. Fertilize your garden with my poo and pee. Let's go, Celtics. You think the New York Knicks can knock us out? Fuck that, it's Celtics 6. I'm screaming, let's go, Celtics, let's go, let's go. Let's go, you motherfucking Celtics. Let's go, baby, let's go. You motherfucking Celtics, let's go. Let's go.
That's great. That's fantastic stuff. The man's a legend.
We've got to release those to the public every time.
That will be posted on the Patreon.
That song should be the theme for every Celtics fan. Like everyone should be belting that out game after game. That's just, I mean, it's incredible stuff, and he does it every game. What a legend!
Maybe like a compilation album.
The mysterious anonymous legend.
We got to put them all together at some point. So
We'll put the whole playoff run together. We can put that on YouTube. I'm putting the song on Patreon, so if anyone wants to listen to that, they can. Celtics
Packard,
push.
you should tweet out the songs whenever we get them before a game.
Can I just? I think I have to convert them to a video, but yeah, I will do that. That's the I. Yes, Jay. I will continue to do that, and hopefully the Celtics keep on winning. We can keep listening to songs. We'll keep podcasting. I will be, if I don't get kicked out for disturbing the peace in Madison Square Garden, hopefully podcasting directly after Game 4. We'll have more analysis for you every single day of the week on patreon.com/stillpoddable.
Wait. I feel like we didn't give Al Horford enough respect, man.
I love the idea of pausing the podcast right now as I'm doing my wrap up to do Al Horford respect. I have no objection. The floor is yours.
This man is 38 years old. Everyone thought they've got Kristaps Porzingis. Luke Cornett has gotten better. They won't need to rely on Al Horford for huge minutes in the postseason. Well, guess what? It's the playoffs, and Al Horford is as pivotal as ever. He played 34 minutes. He shot 6 for 9. He hit 3 threes. He had 9 rebounds. He's guarding Jalen Brunson sometimes in isolation. He's keeping Mitchell Robinson and Karl Towns off the glass. This guy, how does he do it? How did we not spend more time talking about this earlier in the podcast?
Because this is what he does. This is what he does.
But he's 38. He shouldn't be doing this shit.
You guys, no, you know why?
Al Horford should not still be such a huge difference maker. It's incredible that he does this all the time. And you knew when he was 2 for 11 in game 2 that he was going to come out and he was going to be absolutely hell-bent on keeping the Celtics from getting another loss. You knew it was going to be an Al Horford big game, and he delivered. Did he maybe embellish the shove from Jalen Brunson? Yes. Did he go after the entire Brunson family afterward? Yes, because he's Al Horford, and it's the playoffs. And once the playoffs come, Al Horford becomes a different human. His intensity is crazy. He's just locked in, and here we are, 2025. 5 years after people thought Al was washed when he was in Philadelphia, and that motherfucker is still awesome at basketball. It's incredible.
I've never seen a player do more of an extra day off.
Yeah, Al
Horford at 38. Give him an extra day. Look out, world. He's coming.
Absolutely dangerous. No days off for us. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be here for you every single day of the playoffs. Patreon.com/stillpoddable. This is on the CLNS YouTube page, so appreciate Game Time for sponsoring us, and we'll be back tomorrow with more.
We got one more thing we should have discussed. Derek White's incredible block. That was ridiculous. The recovery to swat Jalen Brunson.
Yeah.
That was good, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
I've got you beat, though, Jay. What about Drew Holiday's pass to Derek White?
Also amazing. I really just paused. I just thought it'd be funny if I paused the podcast again, and I something that I could. But I won't do it again.
Anything else?
Still Poddable,